Hello students, in the previous class I told you about the complete forebrain. Okay, and now here you have this diagram in front of you. Look at the diagram. Here we see that different parts of the brain. This is the cerebral hemisphere. Okay, and this is the cerebrum, then midbrain, hindbrain, spinal cord, forebrain. So this cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus, these are the parts of the forebrain. And before that I told you that there are this one, thalamus, hypothalamus. Apart from thalamus and hypothalamus, there is epithalamus, which forms the part of diencephalon, and diencephalon is a part of forebrain. Okay, so parts of the brain is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. This is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Okay, so now you can see over here that corpus callosum is the layer, okay, which is covering the cerebrum. Cerebral adequate is there, this layer. Then midbrain is there, which is present over here in this along with the thalamus and hypothalamus. Hindbrain, it consists of three parts: pons, cerebellum, medulla, and from there this arises the spinal cord. Spinal cord, it enters into the vertebral column. Now we just go forward. Just have a look. We just talk about the forebrain. Already we have completed, but still just have a brief look over here. Forebrain. Forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. Cerebrum forms the major part of the human brain. A deep cleft divides the cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, which are termed as left and right cerebral hemisphere. And these hemisphere, they are connected by a tract of nerve fibers called as corpus callosum. Means hemispheres, left hemisphere and right cerebral hemispheres, they are connected with each other through the nerve fibers, and these nerve fibers are called as corpus callosum. The layers of cells which cover the cerebral hemisphere is called the cerebral cortex. You can see over here, and is thrown into prominent fold. Means many folds are there, just these one, and I told you that these are called as gyri and sulci. Okay, so see, referred to as the cerebral cortex is thrown into prominent folds. The cerebral cortex is referred to as the grey matter because of the greyish appearance, and this greyish appearance is due to presence of cell body or cytin. The neuron cell bodies are concentrated here, giving the color. Cerebral cortex contains motor areas. Cerebral cortex, it contains motor areas, sensory areas and large regions that are neither clearly sensory or nor motor in function, and these are called as association areas. So sensory areas means the area which receives impulses from the sense organ. That means when the message is passed to the brain from the sense organ. And then motor area means the message which is transferred from brain back to the muscles, and mixed area is called as association area. Now you can see over here, fibers of tracts are covered with myelin sheath. These are covered with myelin sheath. Myelin sheath, you know the structure of neuron. In the neuron, the axon is covered by a thin sheath that is called as myelin sheath, and it constitutes the inner part of cerebral hemisphere. They give opaque white appearance to the layer, hence this is called as white matter. The cerebrum wraps around the structure called the hypothalamus, which is the major coordinating center for sensory and motor signaling. Means thalamus is what? It is surrounded, the cerebrum is wrapped around by the thalamus, and it is a major coordinating center for sensory and motor signal. That means it connects the motor and sensory signals. Another important part of brain is called as hypothalamus. It lies at the base of thalamus. Just now you have seen the diagram of brain. So hypothalamus is present below the thalamus, and hypothalamus contain number of centers which control body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. It also controls several groups of neurosecretory cells which secrete hormones called as hypothalamic hormone, because hypothalamus secreting the hormones, so that's why these hormones are called as hypothalamus hormones. The inner part of cerebral hemisphere and group of associated deep structure like amygdala, hippocampus, etc. means these all are present in the brain, and they form complex structure called as limbic lobe or limbic system. Okay, along with the hypothalamus, it is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotional reactions, means whatever expressions or the behavior is expressed, it is responsible for that behavior of us. Now we'll continue about your midbrain. Now midbrain is what? Midbrain is located between thalamus, hypothalamus of the forebrain and pons of hindbrain. That means it is located between the thalamus or hypothalamus of forebrain and pons of the hindbrain. That means it connects the midbrain. Midbrain, it connects the forebrain and hindbrain. A canal called the cerebral aqueduct passes through the midbrain. Just now you have seen the diagram, aqueduct. So a canal called cerebral aqueduct, it passes through the midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists mainly of 4 round swellings, or these swellings are called as lobes, and these are called as corpora quadrigemina. There are 4 lobes present in the midbrain. These are called as corpora quadrigemina. Next we talk about is the hindbrain. Hindbrain consists of pons, cerebellum and medulla. Medulla is called as medulla oblongata, and pons consist of fibrous tract, means fiber-like structures that interconnect different regions of brain. Because pons, it is fibrous, it consists of fibers, so these fibers, they spread completely throughout the brain and they connect different regions of the brain. Cerebellum has very convoluted surface in order to provide additional space for many neurons. Means it has convoluted surface, okay, so that many neurons can adjust. The medulla of the brain is connected to spinal cord, because the brain is to be connected with the spinal cord, because brain and spinal cord both are the parts of central nervous system. So there is a connection between spinal cord and brain. So medulla of the brain is connected to the spinal cord. Medulla contain centers which control respiration, means medulla is responsible for respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, that means heart, rhythmic contraction of the heart, and gastric secretions, that means the digestive enzymes which are secreted, which helps in digestion. So this is controlling these. Okay, the medulla controls respiration, cardiovascular reflexes and gastric secretions. Now the 3 major regions make up the brainstem. Brainstem is formed, which is made up of 3 major regions. First is midbrain, second is pons, and third is medulla oblongata. So brainstem forms the connection between the brain and spinal cord. Now see here, reflex action and reflex arc. You already have studied about this reflex action and reflex arc in your 10th standard, chapter 7, control and coordination. So the same thing is over here, okay, just see here, now we'll go through this topic. You have experienced a sudden withdrawal of the body part which comes in contact with objects that are extremely hot, cold, pointed, or animals that are scary or poisonous. That means whenever these things comes in contact with us, or suddenly if I say that if you touch a hot object, then what will happen? within a second you just remove your hand so that your hand does not get burned, because your sense organ skin has experienced that that object is hot and it is danger for the skin. So that message instantly moved to the brain or spinal cord, and then the message is sent back through the motor nerve, and then we remove our hand. So the entire process of response to peripheral nervous stimulation that occurs. Why peripheral? Because this all message is transferred by the use of nerves. Okay, that occurs involuntary, it is not in our control, because and without conscious effort. There is no such conscious effort even in night also. Okay, if someone touches a hot object to a fingertip, then what will happen? We just suddenly wake up. So that is what we say, that it is a without conscious effort. Okay, we don't require attention of the complete brain or thought, and requires the involvement of the part of central nervous system is called as reflex action. Reflex pathway comprises at least what is required: afferent neuron, or we say the receptor, and the efferent, that is called as the effector, and neuron appropriately arranged in a series. Receptor is there, effector is there, which are arranged in a series. Okay, the afferent neuron receives the signal, so we call it as the sensory neuron. These afferent neurons, they are connected with the sense organs. Okay, so afferent neuron receives the signals from the sensory organ, and they transmit the impulse via dorsal nerve root to the central nervous system at the level of spinal cord. These are transferred to the spinal cord, to the dorsal nerve root system. And the efferent neuron, after the message is sent to the spinal cord, then the message is brought back so that action is to be taken. So that message is brought back by efferent neuron and carries the signals from central nervous system to the effector organ, where action is to be done. Then the stimulus and response, they form the reflex arc. Okay, so you can see this over here, diagram of reflex arc. See it over here. See, stimulus means something hits at the knee. So what will happen? Stimulus is over here, then what will happen? The message is sent by the afferent pathway. This is sent to the dorsal root ganglion, then it enters into the spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord, from there motor neuron is receiving the message again, and between the afferent and the motor neuron there is interneuron, we call it as a relay nerve. Then motor neuron carry the message to the efferent pathway, and then it ended in the root end plate or effector organ, and then response is shown by kicking the leg. So this is the reflex arc, reflex action and reflex arc.